What if your brain doesn't create consciousness, but consciousness creates your brain? Stop for a moment and feel the weight of that question. For more than a century, physics has been pointing towards something radical, that reality may arise from consciousness itself. And if that's true, then everything you think you are changes. I'm not talking about abstract philosophy or vague mysticism. I'm talking about cutting-edge science, discoveries made in the world's most advanced laboratories by physicists who have won Nobel Prizes. I'm talking about concrete evidence that you are not just a passive observer of reality, you are an active participant in it. Today, I'm going to show you something that can shake the foundations of what you believe about yourself, about death, and about the purpose of your existence. Get ready, because after this video, you may never see the world or yourself the same way again. I know exactly what it feels like to sense that something important is being kept from you, that uncomfortable feeling that there's a greater truth, a deeper understanding of reality, but no one ever taught you. Maybe you've asked yourself, why am I here? What happens when I die? Does my life really matter in the bigger picture? These aren't empty questions. They're the call of your soul searching for real answers. And you can be sure of this. Your life can be transformed by what you're about to hear. Because when you realize that consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but the very essence of reality itself, everything changes. Your perception of who you are, your creative power, the continuity of your existence, all of it takes on a completely new dimension. You are not small. You are not insignificant. You are a fundamental part of the fabric of the universe. Let me tell you something. Conventional science has been sweeping under the rug for decades. No one can explain consciousness. Think about it. We have technology capable of mapping the brain neuron by neuron. We can identify which areas light up when you think, feel, or remember something. But no scientist, no matter how brilliant, can explain how electrical and chemical activity inside your skull turns into the subjective experience of being you. How do nerve impulses create the experience of red when you look at a rose? How do synapses produce the taste of melted chocolate on your tongue? How do neurons generate the feeling of love when you hug someone you care about? This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. And it's not just hard within a strict materialist framework, it becomes impossible. Because materialism claims that everything is matter, that the universe is made only of particles and physical forces. And if that were truly the whole story, consciousness shouldn't exist at all. The traditional model tries to convince you that you are nothing more than your brain, a complex biological machine processing information. According to that view, when you die, everything ends because there's nothing beyond physical matter breaking down. Your personality, your memories, your dreams, all of it would be nothing more than neural patterns that stop the moment the heart stops. But here's the problem. That explanation doesn't work. It leaves out the most important thing of all. Conscious experience itself. It's like trying to explain the ocean by describing only aga-u molecules, while completely ignoring waves, currents, and the vast blue presence you feel when you look at the horizon. Materialist science can describe the ingredients, but it misses the essence. And for a long time, the scientific community either pretended this problem didn't exist or assumed it would eventually be solved with more research. But the more we research, the more obvious it becomes. We may be asking the wrong question. Many neuroscientists and philosophers of mind have openly admitted this impasse. David Chalmers, one of the world's leading consciousness researchers, made it clear that no amount of knowledge about the brain will solve the hard problem because the problem isn't at the level of the brain. Imagine trying to figure out how the internet works by studying only your computer. You can open the machine, analyze every component, understand the circuits perfectly, and still never grasp that the internet is a much larger network that your computer merely accesses. In the same way, your brain may be a receiver, an instrument that tunes into consciousness, not the source that produces it. Other scientists, like physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hammond, have proposed that quantum processes inside neuronal microtubules might be a bridge between consciousness and matter. But even these theories point to something revolutionary. Consciousness may not emerge from matter, it may be fundamental to the universe. And this is where everything begins to change for you, watching right now. Because if consciousness is not produced by the brain, then you are not your brain. You are not your body. You are not the story you were told about who you're supposed to be. You are something much greater, something deeper, something that transcends physical matter completely. Your essence is not confined inside your skull. It permeates everything. It's connected to a greater field of universal consciousness. And when you die, your body returns to dust. Yes, but you, that conscious spark, that essence that is here right now, perceiving these words and feeling these ideas, that part cannot die because it was never born. It has always existed and will always exist, changing form, changing expression, but remaining eternally conscious. Breathe deeply and let that sink in. You are immortal, and science is beginning to prove it. Now let's go into what truly changed the game: quantum physics. In the early 20th century, scientists like Max Planck, Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg, and Erwin Schrödinger began exploring the subatomic world, expecting to find tiny particles following mechanical laws. What they discovered was so disturbing, so counterintuitive, that even today, many physicists don't know what to do with it. They found that at the fundamental level of reality, particles don't behave like solid objects. Instead, they exist as probability states, waves of pure possibility, clouds of potential, until something special happens. And that something special is conscious observation. Before it's observed, a particle isn't in any specific place. It is literally in all possible places at once, in a state called superposition. Only when a conscious observer looks, measures, or interacts in some way does the probability wave collapse and the particle decides where to appear. This is not a metaphor. This is what happens in laboratories every day. The famous double-slit experiment demonstrates this beyond question. When you fire electrons through two slits toward a screen without observing which slit they pass through, you get an interference pattern. The electron behaves like a wave and passes through both slits simultaneously. But the moment you place a detector to observe which slit the electron goes through, the interference pattern disappears and the electron behaves like a particle going through only one slit. The simple act of observing completely changes reality's behavior at the fundamental level. This has been replicated countless times with sophisticated variations, and the result is always the same. The observing consciousness directly influences the manifestation of matter. We're not talking about subtle effects or statistics. We're talking about a total change in physical behavior. And here's the crucial point many try to ignore. It's not the measuring instrument that collapses, the wave function. It's the consciousness behind the measurement. Because if it were only the device, any physical interaction would collapse it, but that's not what we observe. Renowned quantum physicists have begun to recognize the central role of consciousness. Eugene Wigner, a Nobel Prize winning physicist, stated categorically that it is not possible to formulate the laws of quantum mechanics in a fully consistent way without reference to consciousness. John Wheeler, another giant of physics, proposed the idea of a participatory universe. The idea that the universe did not exist in a defined state before conscious observers existed. He suggested that the universe produced conscious observers who, by observing, gave concrete existence to the universe itself, a cosmic feedback loop where consciousness and reality create each other. Henry Stapp, a theoretical physicist who worked with Heisenberg, wrote extensively about how quantum mechanics requires consciousness to be fundamental. And Amit Goswami, quantum physicist and author, put it even more directly: the universe is made of consciousness, not matter. Matter is only possibility of consciousness. We choose to create this matter and then pretend we had nothing to do with it. Think about what this means for you, right here, right now. You are not just a conscious piece of flesh floating in an indifferent mechanical universe. You are an essential creative agent in the process by which reality manifests. Every time you observe, every time you pay attention, every time you focus your consciousness on something, you are literally bringing possibilities from the quantum field into concrete existence. Your life is not only the result of external forces acting on you, your consciousness is constantly shaping, influencing, and co-creating the experience you call your reality. This isn't shallow positive thinking. This is real physics, tested in laboratories, replicated countless times. You have more power than anyone ever told you. Your attention is creative, your consciousness is transformative, and the deeper you truly understand this, the more consciously you can begin to use that power. But wait, because there is something even deeper I need to show you about how this really works. Let's simplify the observer effect in a way that will make everything click. Imagine reality at its most fundamental level as an infinite ocean of possibilities. Everything that can exist, every possible state of matter and energy, every potential future, all of it floats in this quantum ocean simultaneously. Reality is a giant, maybe Maybe the particle is here. Maybe it's there. Maybe it behaves one way, maybe another. Nothing is defined. Everything is pure potential. Now, you enter the observing consciousness. The moment you direct your attention toward one of these possibilities, something astonishing happens. The maybe becomes is. The probability wave collapses, and a specific reality manifests. Your consciousness is like a conductor leading a cosmic orchestra, choosing which notes will be played in the infinite concert of possibilities. Without the conductor, there is only chaotic potential. With the conductor, there is music, formed a reality you can experience. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine a quantum coin. Unlike a normal coin, which is always heads or tails, this quantum coin exists as both at the same time while no one is looking. It is heads and tails simultaneously in superposition. Only when you open your eyes and observe it does the coin decide and show heads or tails. Your observation doesn't just record the result, it creates the result. Before you looked, there was no result, only potential. This has been demonstrated in laboratories with real particles countless times. Scientists can do something even stranger called delayed choice, where the decision to observe or not is made after the particle has already passed through the apparatus, and yet reality still shifts to align with the observer's choice. It's as if the universe is constantly reconfiguring itself based on consciousness, not on the linear time we believe exists. Time may not be the straight line it seems to be. It may be another flexible dimension of conscious experience. Now, here's where this becomes personal and life. If reality at the quantum level only manifests when observed, then much of what you experience is solid reality around you. In a sense, a projection of collective consciousness and of your own individual consciousness. Large, stable structures, your body, your house, the earth, are maintained in manifestation by the constant observation of billions of minds at once. But the details, the nuances, the events in your personal life, there is far more fluidity there, far more room for your individual consciousness to influence and shape. When you focus intensely on something, when you observe with full attention, you are strengthening that possibility, making it more likely to fully manifest in your experience. This is why ancient practices like meditation, visualization, and focused intention actually work. They're not merely psychological exercises, they're technologies of quantum manifestation. Gregg Braden, one of the best-known voices bridging science and spirituality, has presented fascinating evidence related to this. He describes experiments suggesting that human DNA can affect the quantum field around it. In one study, DNA was separated from a donor and placed far away. When the donor was exposed to emotionally charged videos, the separated DNA reportedly responded instantly, as if it were still connected. Braden argues this suggests there is a field connecting everything, and that human consciousness interacts with that field, shaping physical reality. He calls it the divine matrix, an intelligent energy field that responds to our thoughts and feelings. You are not separate from the reality you observe. You are entangled with it, interwoven at a level that transcends space and time. Your consciousness and the universe dance together in a cosmic waltz. And when you truly understand this, not just intellectually, but viscerally, in every cell of your being, you realize you can never again be a victim. You are a co-creator. You always have been. You always will be. Now let's go even deeper. What exactly is this consciousness we're talking about? Most people think of consciousness as something that arises inside each person's head, as if there's a little consciousness inside you, another inside me, all separated and isolated. But what if it's the opposite? What if consciousness is like a vast, limitless ocean, and each of us is only a wave on that ocean, seemingly separate, but fundamentally made of the same essence, connected in depth? This idea isn't new. Eastern spiritual traditions have been saying it for thousands of years. Vedanta speaks of Brahman, the universal consciousness from which everything emerges. Buddhism speaks of a Buddha nature that permeates all things. But now modern physics is arriving at similar implications through a completely different path, through mathematics, experiments, and the cold logic of science. And when science and spirituality converge on the same truth, you're touching something deeply real. Many leading thinkers propose that consciousness is not an epiphenomenon of matter, but a fundamental field of the universe as basic as electromagnetism or gravity. Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, declared in 1944, I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. Feel the weight of that statement. The man who ignited the quantum revolution was saying consciousness comes first, not matter. Other physicists, like David Bohm, developed theories of an implicate order. The idea that there is a deeper, unmanifest reality, a field of information and consciousness, from which the physical world we see is only a projection and explicate order. Bohm described the universe as a halum movement, a total indivisible motion where everything is connected. Separate particles are illusions. In truth, everything is one conscious process unfolding. If this is true and evidence increasingly points in this direction, then you are not a small isolated consciousness born in 1980, 1990, 2000, or whenever. You are a focal point, an individualized expression of the universal field of consciousness. It's as if the infinite ocean of consciousness decided, for a moment, to experience itself through your eyes, through your life, through your joys and your suffering. You are God pretending to be human. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. Every person, every animal, every living form is another expression of that same field, playing the cosmic game of hide and seek, hiding so completely it forgets what it is, only to find itself again and remember its true nature. And this moment right now, as you watch this video, as these ideas resonate within you, may be part of your awakening, part of your own process of remembering who you truly are beyond the mask of personality. This also helps explain phenomena that conventional science considers impossible or paranormal near-death experiences, where clinically dead people report expanded awareness, transcendent visions, encounters with beings of light. If consciousness is fundamental and not produced by the brain, then it makes sense that it could continue even when the brain is no longer functioning. Telepathic connection, deep intuition, meaningful synchronicities. If we are all waves in the same ocean of consciousness, then direct connections between minds are not only possible, they are expected. Greg Braden also documents cases of spontaneous healing in which people, through deep faith and elevated emotion, reportedly transcended terminal illness in days. Because if the matter of your body emerges from consciousness, then changing consciousness changes matter. This is not magic. It is applied quantum physics, and you are now beginning to access this knowledge that can transform literally everything in your life. Because if you are an expression of the universal field of consciousness, then you have access to its infinite creative power. You just have to remember how to use it. And that brings us to the most important question of all. So let's bring all this down to your real life. What does it actually mean in practice to know that consciousness is fundamental and that you are an expression of it? First, your identity, who you think you are, changes completely. You probably identify with your name, your personal history, your body, your personality, your thoughts and emotions. And yes, all of that is part of your experience. But it is not who you are at the deepest level. At the most fundamental level, you are the pure awareness that is observing all of it. You are the screen onto which the movie of your life is projected. Not only the characters and the story. When you begin to identify with this witnessing consciousness, the silent observer always present behind every thought, every emotion, every sensation. Something extraordinary happens. You become free. You realize you are not hostage to your thoughts. You are not enslaved by your emotions. You are the conscious space in which all of it arises and passes. That is real freedom. Freedom no external circumstance can take away. Second, death loses its terror. If you are only your body and brain, then death is total annihilation. The complete end of everything you are. Terrifying, isn't it? But if you are fundamental consciousness, a wave in the infinite ocean, then physical death is only a transformation, a change of form. A wave may break on the shore, but the water returns to the ocean and becomes new waves. Your conscious essence cannot die because it was never born in a strictly temporal sense. It is eternal. This is not blind religious belief. It is grounded in quantum physics, which shows that information and consciousness are conserved, never destroyed. Millions of near-death experiences reported across cultures consistently show consciousness continuing expanded and lucid, even when the brain is completely inactive. Pam Reynolds, for example, experienced total brain death during surgery and still reported with accuracy everything that happened in the operating room, including conversations and instruments used. How could that be possible if consciousness were produced by the brain? It couldn't. The only coherent explanation is that consciousness is independent of the physical brain. Third, your purpose in life takes on a completely new dimension. If you are the universe experiencing itself subjectively, then what is the purpose? To experience, to grow, to expand consciousness. Every challenge you face, every pain you feel, every joy you experience enriches the universal field of consciousness. You are not here by accident. You are here because the universe wants to know itself through your unique perspective, through your specific journey. There is no insignificant life, no wasted experience. Everything matters because everything is the universe learning about itself. Greg Braden puts it like this: we are not simply passive observers in a pre-existing universe. We are active participants in the creation of our reality. Every thought, every feeling, every choice we make sends signals into the quantum field, shaping the matter and possibilities that manifest in our lives. Your purpose is simple and profound. Live fully, love deeply, grow continuously. Bring more awareness into every moment. Remember who you truly are behind the mask. Finally, this changes how you live each day. When you know you are fundamental consciousness entangled with everything and everyone, the sense of separation begins to dissolve. You begin to see that harming another is harming yourself. Because we are one at the deepest level, helping another is helping yourself. Love is not just a beautiful feeling, it is the direct recognition of the fundamental unity of all existence. You also realize you have responsibility for your reality, not as guilt or burden, but as creative power. If your consciousness shapes quantum reality, then the life you are living now is, to a large extent, a reflection of the patterns of thought, emotion, and belief you have been holding. Want to change your life? Change your consciousness. Want different experiences? Become a different observer. You are not trapped. You never were. The prison was always an illusion created by identifying with the limited instead of the limitless. And now, in this exact moment, you have the key. The question is, will you use it? Will you begin to live from this expanded understanding? Or will you return to the autopilot of old conditioning? The choice is yours. It always was. And it always will be. Now you understand why you will never see reality the same way again. Consciousness is not a biological accident. You are not just flesh and bone. You are an expression of the fundamental field that weaves the entire universe. You are pure awareness temporarily playing the game of being human, exploring limitation only to rediscover your own infinity. Death is not the end, it is a transition. Your purpose is not something you need to find out there. It is written into the very fact that you exist, and your life here and now is being co-created by your observing consciousness at every moment. This isn't abstract philosophy. This is quantum physics. This is cutting-edge science meeting ancient wisdom, and it is your truth waiting to be lived fully. If this touched your heart and changed your perspective, leave a comment sharing how it resonated with you. Your experience could inspire others who are on the path of awakening. Leave a like so more people can find this transformative knowledge. And subscribe because you won't want to miss the next video, where I'll go even deeper into the observer effect and reveal how you can consciously use this quantum principle to transform your daily reality. Trust me, what comes next will elevate your understanding to a whole new level. Until then, stay conscious, stay present, and remember, you are far more than you think you are. You are infinite.